Hi guys, my name's Thomas Busby and welcome along to this lesson where we learn about exposure compensation. Before we begin this lesson, there's a couple of things you're going to have to adjust on your camera. First of all, look for your shutter, your aperture and your ISO. If you don't know what those are, that's okay, just find everything you can and flick it to automatic, except for if you have a mode dial on the top of your camera. If you do, flick that to P, that's for program mode, and then flick everything else to automatic. Next, if you're lucky enough to have an exposure compensation dial, spin that round so it's at 0. If you don't have that dial, look for a button that looks like this. While holding down that button and spinning the wheel, you will see the light meter along the bottom of your camera that looks like this, and it will have a little marker underneath it. And as you spin that exposure compensation dial or push the exposure compensation button and spin a wheel, you'll see the little marker underneath that meter shift from left to right or right to left, plus your photos will get brighter and darker. Also along that meter you'll see a negative and a positive, maybe with a +2 or a +3 and a -2 and a -3. They indicate whether your shots are getting brighter and darker as well, depending on which way you shift that meter towards it. So for this week's lesson, it's really simple. Grab an object, maybe like just a coffee cup, and place it on a windowsill during the day, but in a relatively dark room, or the darkest room you can find in your house. And then take some photos and expose for outside the window or the object you've placed on the windowsill. Before you ever take a photo for the rest of your life, ask yourself the question, what am I photographing? And always expose correctly for that subject. Using fully automatic is very well and good, but quite often your camera will not know what you are trying to photograph. By doing this and taking that control of your brightness or your exposure compensation, you can tell your camera whether you want it to expose for the brightest part of the image or the darkest part of the image. Once you get bored of placing objects on your windowsill, take photos of, say, a light bulb. I know once again this might sound boring, but expose for the actual detail in the light bulb and then change that exposure to suit for the ceiling around the light bulb. Once you've got your head around that, go outside and photograph objects against the sun. Once again, making your shots brighter or darker is shifting the exposure compensation and that little light meter along the bottom of your shots to make your images brighter or darker until you are happy with the exposure of the shots. As always guys, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below, but don't skip along to that next video until you've spent that 5 minutes each week just really learning and setting into stone how to do exposure compensation.